Ark has hired the developers it desperately needs, and for once, this isn't simply another promise about future performance or an update arriving soon. Studio Wildcard has been expanding its development team with experienced Unreal Engine specialists, and now one of the greatest map creators in Ark history has officially joined the studio. Nekatus, the creator behind Fjordur, Astraeos, Svartalfheim, and one of the original creators of Valguero, is joining Studio Wildcard as lead level designer for the upcoming Atlantis DLC. And at the same time, Wildcard has hired several senior Unreal Engine veterans to strengthen the team working on performance, graphics, platform-specific problems, and the enormous Unreal Engine 5.7 upgrades. These engineers are not temporary contractors being brought in to push a single update over the finish line. Wildcard says they are joining for the long term and will continue helping with optimization, bug fixes, and future feature development. That means the studio has now brought in an experienced talent on both sides of Ark's biggest challenges. Necartis brings an incredible record of creating enormous memorable worlds that players generally want to explore, and the Unreal Engine veterans bring the specialist technical knowledge ASA needs if it's ever going to overcome its persistent problems with performance, stuttering, and stability. This doesn't mean that every Ark update will suddenly launch perfectly. They haven't hired a wizard capable of defeating the true final boss of the Ark certification process, but these additions could represent one of the most promising behind the scenes changes we have ever seen at Studio Wildcard. So today we're looking at who has joined the studio and what they'll be working on, and whether Ark Survival Ascended could be generally entering a brand new era. If you enjoyed today's video, feel free to drop a like and subscribe, and if you're looking for a cluster to play every single ASA map completely for free and a lovely active community with active admins, click the Discord link in the description down below and come and join our amazing free cluster. So let's begin with Nekatus. And even if you don't immediately recognize his name, there is a very good chance you have already played something he helped create or made himself. Nekatus has become one of the biggest and most recognizable map developers within the entire Ark community. He created Fjordur, which began as a modded map before being adopted and released as a free official Ark expansion, and Fjordur became an enormous success because it offered far more than another collection of traditional biomes. It featured different realms, mythology-inspired environments, hidden locations, challenging caves, world bosses, and an incredible amount of content spread throughout the map. It felt like a world built by someone who understood exactly why Ark players enjoy exploring. Players don't only want a large landscape, they want secrets. They want caves hidden behind waterfalls, dangerous regions that require genuine preparation, and locations that make them wonder what could be waiting around the next corner. Nekatus also worked on Valguero, another map that successfully moved from the modding community into official Ark. And then we have Svartalfheim, a detailed dwarven-inspired world, Astraeos with its enormous Greek mythology theme, and then the recently released Bjarnheim. Bjarnheim takes on a very different approach with its Nordic fantasy setting, Fimble winter conditions, dangerous hell runners, and a much harsher focus on survival. These maps are not all copies of one another, and that demonstrates that Nekatus can take an idea, establish a strong identity around it, and then build environments that support that theme, and that makes his appointment to the company very exciting. Nekatus is joining Studio Wildcard as the lead level designer for Atlantis, and Atlantis already sounds like one of ASA's most ambitious upcoming projects. Ark has always had a complicated relationship with its oceans. They are incredible aquatic creatures that are in the game and some beautiful underwater environments, but on many maps, the ocean can feel like an enormous space players cross mainly because they need resources. Atlantis provides an opportunity to create an entire expansion where the underwater world isn't secondary content. It could become the central experience. And having Nekatus lead the level design team makes perfect sense. A developer known for massive fantasy environments, dangerous caves, mythology, and hidden locations, is now helping build a DLC inspired by one of history's greatest mythical civilizations. It almost feels suspiciously well planned by Ark standards. Nekatus has described this as a massive opportunity to learn about level design within Ark and become more deeply involved with game development. And importantly, joining Wildcard will not end his existing mod projects. He has confirmed that development of his current maps and mods will continue as they did before, and that should reassure players concerned about the future updates of Astraeos, but that is obviously a partner DLC, Bjarnheim, and his other creations. He isn't abandoning those projects to disappear into Wildcard's headquarters, never to be seen again until someone finds him trapped inside a mesh hole. Instead, he will continue his existing work while taking on this major official role for Atlantis. This also shows something important about Wildcard's relationship with Ark's modding community, because some of Ark's most successful official content originated with independent creators. Maps like The Center, Ragnarok, Valguero, Crystal Isles, and Fjordur all demonstrated that mod developers can understand Ark just as deeply as the people working within the studio. These creators have spent years watching how players move through their worlds, where they build, and which caves have become popular, and which environments players completely ignore. And that kind of practical experience is incredibly valuable. Rather than attempting to recreate the understanding internally, Wildcard is bringing one of the community's most successful creators directly into the development process. But the map design side of Ark is only half of today's story, because while Nekatus could help create an extraordinary Atlantis, players still need the game to run properly enough to experience it. And that brings us to Wildcard's other major hires. Studio Wildcard has confirmed that it has hired a number of senior Unreal Engine veterans to strengthen its core engine, graphics, and expertise. These developers will help with performance optimization, platform-specific bug fixes, and feature development. Their first major challenge is one of the most important technical updates in ASA's future, which is the migration to Unreal Engine 5.7. Moving a massive live game between Unreal Engine versions isn't like downloading any ordinary update, and it isn't just pressing an install button. ASA contains many enormous maps, hundreds of creatures, player-built structures, cross-platform multiplayer, complete mod support, dynamic environments, and years of interconnected systems. Changing that technology underneath all creates a very unpredictable time. Wildcard has explained that the engine upgrades can introduce new solutions, but they can also create new problems. Essentially, upgrading Ark requires the team to assume that almost everything could break and then test the game completely from the beginning. So, business as usual for an Ark patch, just on a slightly larger scale. Wildcard originally decided to prioritize stability over speed to protect the launches of Genesis Ascended Part 1 and Tides of Fortune, and the Unreal Engine 5.7 upgrade is now targeting late Q3, which should place its current release window towards the end of September. However, this remains a target rather than a guaranteed date. Considering the scale of the migration, I would rather see it receive the necessary testing before it's rushed out. And what makes Unreal Engine 5.7 so important is the potential performance improvements. Wildcard believes the newer engine technology could produce substantial gains across both CPU and GPU, and one of the largest improvements concerns the way the map actually works and how the game processes. This applies directly to Ark because practically every map contains enormous forests, overlapping vegetation, detailed rocks, and complicated environments. And instead of wasting the same amount of processing power on objects or selections of objects that players cannot see properly, the upgraded technology should make those environments considerably more efficient. And if the expected gains translate into the finished game, ASA could receive higher and more stable frame rates across PC and consoles. It could also give Wildcard more technical space for increasingly ambitious maps and features, and performance has been one of Survival Ascended's largest problems since launch. ASA looks beautiful, but those visuals have a way to come with an enormous cost. Even powerful PCs can struggle in certain areas, while consoles and populated multiplayer servers face their own problems, which we obviously know by running the LoadedCrysis cluster. Bringing in developers with extensive Unreal Engine experience is therefore exactly the type of investment that Wildcard needed to make. Rather than just asking the existing team to solve every highly specialized engine problem alone, the studio has added people whose expertise is directly connected to those challenges. That does not guarantee that Unreal Engine 5.7 will magically eliminate every problem. Some stuttering is caused by loading huge player bases and thousands of network structures. Shaders and mods and custom cosmetics create additional problems, but a more efficient engine can repair some form of issues that the game needs. It can't automatically repair every server problem, map hole, or creature that decides its natural habitat is inside the terrain, but it could make a tangible difference. That word tangible is important because it's one of the words Wildcard actually used itself. Players don't need another update that promises optimization but produces difference requiring scientific equipment to detect. The community needs performance improvements that can be measured and felt normal during gameplay. We need better frame rates, more stable performance, fewer crashes, and a smoother experience when it comes through traveling through heavily populated areas. And the arrival of these senior Unreal Engine developers doesn't only affect this single upgrade either, and Wildcard says they are here for the long term. That means that their work should continue through future platform fixes, optimization updates, and new features, and again, makes ASA become more ambitious. We've already seen Wildcard introduce physical ships, expanded ocean systems, dragons, and unusual new creatures, and future content includes Atlantis, complete world building tools, and even space combat through galaxy wars. All of that content depends on a stable technical foundation. You cannot continue placing new floors on a building if the ground floor is still deciding whether it wants collision. So this is where we make the big decisions. So with Nekatus joining the team and also the new Unreal Engine developers, this gives us kind of a little bit more of a look into the future of the game. Wildcard suggests they may be changing the way it approaches Ark's future, and I think this is what is seriously so important when we look together. We need to see improvements, we need to see changes, we want to see maybe a more meaningful update that truly changes the game, maybe something like No Man's Sky did. And if you want somewhere active to experience that future, you can join us completely free on the LoadedCrysis cluster. We have every available ASA map, boosted rates, cross-map transfers, and a friendly active admin team. You can find the Discord link below, and come and have some fun. Thank you very much for watching today's video. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below, and do you think we're finally going to see the changes we've been hoping for the last 11 years? See you guys in my next video.